I remember through our grief counseling, we had 3 sessions, and by the weeks were explained what the stages of grief were in the first one. I'm like, okay, I remember those. I don't really know them. By session 2, I was like, I already finished all 6 or all 5. It was, that was a tough 2 weeks, but I think I'm to acceptance. And then a conversation in between 2 and 3 happened. And I talked to my uncle actually, and he asked me the same question everyone else had, and it hit me in a different way.
Yeah.
And I just broke down. And then talked with Haley, and she got to see all of it. And I'm like, okay, I was actually in stage 1. I was in denial the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I got to just go to the second one. But I thought it was a logical 5 steps. It's like, you're in 1, you're in 2, you're in 3, all the way through. And then you graduate and you never go back to the other one. And I'm like, whoa, this is much more fluid.
Yeah.
And even for guys, even compartmentally, I could be, well, in my logical side, I can almost think I'm in acceptance. Maybe it is still denial, but then you could get a memory that just hits you and it's uncontrollable, and then it takes you all the way back to the depression or anger. And it's just like a shock wave that it's just like, wow, what in the world? I thought I was past this.
Yeah.
And it's not that simple at all. So I think, I just feel like you're way better than that at me, at least understanding it, having that realization. And maybe that's most guys, or maybe it's just me, but I think, I kind of had that understanding for Haley, and I knew she's better at her feelings than I am. And even as we went through grief counseling, it's like hearing her, I'm just in awe. I'm like, wow, how does she understand that?
Right.
But it was, like I said, living through it, certainly learned a lot and continue to. But there was grief in different ways for sure. And at the start, I might've been like, oh, I need her to get to where I'm at. Yeah. When she fully heals, she'll be where I'm at. But it's like, I think you're actually way further than, or you're processing through it with much more awareness than I was.
Right. I think so many times as men, Garrett, thank you for saying that. Because, right, like even personally for grief experiences in my own life, right, I've compartmentalized, right? There's this sense of, I think, this vulnerability as a man, and I would rather just compartmentalize and kind of keep to the task. And, and there is that tendency to kind of go, well, I'm doing it the good way because I'm less dysregulated and I'm just kind of keeping focus on it. But there is something I think so powerful and beautiful about marriage relationships and our wives oftentimes having more of in connection with the emotions in that, and us being able to kind of learn from that. I think there also could be a tendency in the work that I've done with others that are going through grief, right, is that sometimes wives might feel like the husband's just trying to protect, right? And so it's like, I'm compartmentalizing, I'm protecting. And yet sometimes the wives can kind of interpret that as like, do you not care? Do you have a heart of stone right now? Like, how is this not bothering you? And we're just going, let's power through it. And usually it's out of care or concern of protection, or just kind of moving forward and not wanting anyone in our family to hurt. And so I'm so thankful, just even as you were kind of acknowledging that, because as compartmentalized as we try to be, that grief process is still there for us as men, and we just sometimes try to avoid it as much as possible.